when they were talking about superhuman, they were referring to the fact that in circumstances that a normal person would say a car accident or something, a normal person might break an arm or a leg. Um, I think one of the doctors in that article referred to a person in Holland who walked in front of a Mercedes, and he told them, when he asked him, well, what happened? The guy told him, well, you should look at the car. But basically, I think referring to superhuman, it would most likely, well, they're referring to our bone as extra dense, extra strong, which makes us stronger, probably less vulnerable in accident than your average person, which is pretty cool. So the big thing is current research related to sclerosis mainly focuses on using our disease as a model to develop a treatment for osteoporosis. That is what the article in Bloomberg was referring to. Of course, osteoporosis affects more than 30% of women after menopause, so being able to use our disease and to help them, that's really, really great. And I'm really happy to hear that, or to know that our condition can be used to benefit others. However, no research is actually being done, or rather, research that we know about are being done to help us, the patients with sclerosis, right? As there's no real financial incentive, and it's a very rare disease. There's only about 100 own research projects, and we will focus on developing a treatment specifically for sclerosis. Our developmental work will be done at the Department of Paraclinical Science, the Faculty of Veterinary Science at the University of Pretoria, as they have access to the necessary equipment and facilities for non-clinical proof of concept study. I will submit my work for a PhD, and I will work under the supervision of Professor Vinny Naidu, who is the Deputy Dean of Research and Postgraduate Studies at the Faculty of Veterinary Science. To be a little bit more specific, basically what we want to do is, and hopefully, of course, then we'll monitor whether there are any changes in bone formation, and we'll determine, of course, if there are any adverse effects. And if this is actually successful, one would consider moving forward to clinical trial. So just to give an idea of what we're trying to achieve, that our research aim is to demonstrate that introducing the sclerostin and maintaining normal sclerostin levels in the mutus mice will prevent or maybe even reduce excessive bone formation, and should be able to be developed into treatment for humans with sclerosis. Of course, if my studies are successful, we will continue moving forward with clinical trial. Then we'll get the health science faculty involved. I think the biggest thing with all this is that if we're able to treat it, the lack of abnormal bone growth will negate all those adverse effects that I mentioned earlier. And of course, it'll reduce the requirement for surgery. So, it'll reduce the health and financial burden for the patient. So that would be the drive behind everything we do. Then, for your latest question, so we have applied for funding from the National Research Foundation. That is for a scholarship for me. We've also applied, or we will apply, for research funding from the South African Medical Research Council. However, funding from both these sources it won't be enough to cover the entire cost of around 750,000 Rand. All right, the phase 1 studies, the phase 1 clinical studies, we will most likely have to involve the contract research organization. Of course, we will most likely need the backing from major pharmaceutical companies. Another thing is that we need funds for RDP. I am moving to Pretoria to partake in the research, and we could, of course, need funds for my day-to-day expenses, which we determined to be around, okay, I don't have a specific value for that, but yeah, so funding will also cover my accommodation and living expenses. Um, of course, any sponsorship or financial backing would be very much appreciated.